Hi, this is the Inglis man of EB Inglis Music, and welcome to another Studio Talk vlog. In today's episode, we're continuing the Young Artist Starter Kit series, and I also want to focus a little bit more on what we spoke about in the last episode, which was when you as a young artist now find yourself at the studio phase. Now, we've spoken about being prepared and giving your best performance when we're in the recording phase. But something that I failed to mention, and this is something that I've studied when I was studying sound engineering, and this is something that you'll find in any industry. You can speak to people in the TV and film production industry, they'll tell you the same thing, and that is to have quality at every stage of your production when you are making your music. Now, I'm going to split it up into two categories, one for traditionally hip-hop songs, and the other category is for everything else, where you have more singing as opposed to rapping. And why I'm splitting it up, because the processes are slightly different. Now, with a hip-hop song, usually you start with a beat. Now, I told you in the previous episode what you as an artist need to do is you needed to have a short list of producers and beat makers that you will approach to make your music that will provide you with the best quality beats versus what you can afford. Now, what that means is they take care of proper sound selection, the proper drums, the proper instruments, and how they mesh that together, because all of this is going to count in your favor when you go to, after the production phase, when you go into the post-production phase, which is actually mixing and mastering. And this is why this is important. So now you have the quality beats. Now, with a hip-hop song, we start with the beat and then you write to that. And obviously, I mentioned in the previous episode, you will write something to the best of your ability to have everything pre-arranged so that by the time you head into studio, you're sort of 85% prepared. You're leaving that 50% for some creative freedom when you are in the studio. With other songs that are not traditionally hip-hop, sometimes you would start with chords, melody, and lyrics first, and then everything else is fleshed out afterwards. But essentially, the same procedure would be followed, where you have to take care of quality at each phase, how the instruments fit together, how it's arranged, how everything fits together, proper sound selection. So now you're heading into the studio, you're well prepared, you have everything arranged and written. Now it's up to the producer, and what by this producer, what I mean is the actual producer that's taking care of the direction of the song. I don't want to go into too much detail because I covered this topic already in a previous episode where I spoke about beat makers versus producers. Please watch that episode so you can see what I'm talking about at this phase. Because now this producer will direct your vocals. Not every artist is skilled enough to produce their own vocals. And this is important to have somebody to direct you. You can have the best actors in a film, they still need a director. And the same applies to music. So now the producer will direct you to get the best performance possible. The next step of quality is obviously the recording engineer, the person who records your vocals. If they record your vocals to the best quality possible, it's just all of these things, recording of the vocals and the putting together of the music, is going to make the mix engineer, his job or her job, that much easier. Now when you head to that phase, the mixing phase, now we're heading into post-production. What mixing essentially is to make sure that there's a right balance of volume of each of the instruments versus frequency and all of that. I don't want to get too technical, but that's what it is. It's balancing everything out so you have a nice even spread of everything that's happening in your song. If your vocals are recorded well and the music is done well, it makes his job easier to balance everything out, add some creative touches that the mix engineer will do, and then that also makes it that much better when it heads to the final phase of mastering. A mistake that a lot of artists make is they think they can do whatever they need to do in the production phase, and that the mix engineer and the mastering engineer will fix it. That's not how it works. If you have that quality from the beginning, you focus on that, having quality at each phase. It just makes each phase easier and a whole lot better. Do all the groundwork in the beginning, it makes everything a whole lot easier. And at the end of the day, if your song is well written, well produced, well recorded, well mixed, well mastered, you're well on your way to having a good quality product that can best showcase your talent and that you can take to radio stations, and that will be a great sort of advertisement for you as an artist. If you have any questions on this episode, please feel free to comment in the comment section. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up and subscribe. youtube.com/Englishman. And I'll catch you on the next episode of the Studio Talk vlog.
Ooh, it's the Englishman.